No, what am I saying?
What, this? It's nothing. Really, it's nothing, Ed. It's just, it's just Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Have a good time. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened.
Okay, you little bastards. The time has come. The moment we've all been waiting for. It's the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Alabruski. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's get the podcast started. Welcome one, welcome all to the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Alabruski. You made it just in time, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, back again because we've got nothing else to do. And it's part of the terms of our parole. We're here. This is our community service. Better than picking up along the side of the highway, I think.
I didn't know that. That's why you guys are here, dude. I'm just here because I love you both, all right? And I want to spread proper information to the masses.
I've got an ankle bracelet on. I can't leave the house, so I figured why not do a podcast? Seemed to make a lot of sense. So
yeah.
You can find us on the interweb, thevocalminority.net. That is our website. Let's see. We got social medias, and we get social on there. We'll comment. We'll talk to you. We'll interact with you, whether you're an asshole or not.
Yeah.
No, we don't judge. Oh, I mean, we do, but we'll talk to you. Yeah.
We'll judge you poorly, but we'll still talk to you. So have at it.
Yeah. We're not pussies where we won't talk to you and we'll just block you because we don't like what you're saying either.
That is the truth, Brewski.
I think we have a phone line, too, don't we?
Yeah, it's 844-48-VOCAL. You can call that line. It's toll free. I mean, it's not going to cost you anything. When's the last time a phone call cost you anything, for crying out loud?
I was going to say, isn't everything toll free now?
No,
international is, still, you got to pay for
they are still paying for their cell phone bill every month. So in a way,
That's true.
they are paying for calls. So, but this one's free. Ringy dingy. Just give us a call.
One call, a million calls, make us one of them. 844-48-VOCAL. You record your voice, we play it back. It's magic. It's radio, because we're a bunch of radio guys.
I've been getting shit slammed lately with texts coming in of like, I wish I had one to read. I delete them as junk, but, Celine Dion stepping up 900% match to take Trump down. Have you been getting those text messages lately?
No.
I mean, all different people. Celine Dion, George Clooney, all these people. And I'm just like, fuck, stop texting me, dude. I'm not donating.
Whenever Celine Dion texts me, it's just the same digit, like over and over. I think her hands are locking up when she texts me.
You're such a dick, dude. They just released a documentary on Celine Dion, okay, and her condition, and it's like a really personal look into her life. Oh, dude, you should watch just one clip of it, and you would never joke about it again.
I'm bringing attention to it. I brought that up so you would promote it. See what a good person I am?
That's terrible. I mean, this one is where, harness don't make any jokes, but, her muscles contract where they're like tighten way up. And now, I mean, it's continuing to a point where it's so debilitating and she's having like these massive seizures. Like this documentary, I watched just a couple of clips of it to see if I wanted to watch it. And it's very depressing.
I don't know. I was up late volunteering at the women's shelter, and I'm just tired today. So, because that's the kind of guy I am.
Volunteering to rape people, or what? I mean, what were you doing?
Nick, rape is nothing to be made fun of, nor the plight of women in general, especially Celine Dion. So I don't appreciate your out of context comments about her muscle atrophy and texting you and all these things. Like, how dare you? How fucking dare you?
I'll apologize, dude. I'll apologize.
People always say we sound alike, so I think I can just blame you for everything I say.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. It's the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. All low Brewski.
Yeah.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Gentlemen, I don't even know how to start this out. So please, Steve, take it away.
Okay. So this is going to be my preface for this. First of all, let me give you my headline from last week's debate, and that is Trump lies and Biden dies. Trump didn't win that debate. He just didn't epically lose it. Trump lied for 90 fucking straight minutes, and Biden just almost literally fell on his face for the whole time. So the first thing I want to point out is that us three liberals are going to have a discussion that no conservative would ever have. In other words, we're going to be a little raw and honest here and say that we're not super excited about our candidate at the moment, or we're concerned. There's some worries that he didn't do a very good job. You'll never hear a MAGA person discuss Trump's lack of ability to string sentences together or tell the truth or anything like that. So, I've asked many times on the show, do the MAGA people have any self-awareness of how much their bullshit is running amok? And obviously the answer is no. But we're going to have a bit of a raw discussion here, right?
Yeah, I would like to think so. We'll have a raw discussion. Some opinions may vary, just like everyone else's in this country right now. I think there's so many different opinions, thoughts going on about the debate and where we go from here. I'll tell you guys, just to start this out, how crazy this is that my brother, who we all on this program and podcast know, is a conservative who voted for Trump at least once. He called me after the debate and he was like, "Did you watch the debate?" And I thought, of course, he was just kind of calling to gloat a little bit, Yes. And I was like, yeah, what a fucking shit show, is I think what I said. And I said depressing. And he was like, I don't know where you're coming from. I was with Democrats and Republicans, and all of the Democrats I was with are acting the same way as you are. I didn't think he did that bad of a job. I was like, that's a really interesting take. And I was like, it didn't make sense coming from him. Now, let me clarify. He was like, this is what I've been seeing with him all along. Like on the media I watch, which is, Fox and some other conservative news, he was like, this is all I've ever seen of him. So I wasn't surprised by this. And the questions that he did answer were way better than I ever thought that they would be.
It's interesting. Did the other side set the bar so low that that this wasn't a shock? I mean, all of their propaganda I've been saying on the show for months, like it's bullshit. The video of him wandering off to nowhere and all of these edited out of context videos. But then, Biden played directly into that hand and came off as old, too old. And as I've also been saying forever, I don't care how old you are. I care how old you act. And Biden act like he was not 81. He was 181 or something. So that's an interesting perspective to hear from a conservative.
Yeah, I was blown away by it, dude, really. And and we've talked about it a couple of times since. And, some of the opinions that he has is just crazy to me as a conservative anyway, because they line up with me. One of which, as we get into this conversation, there are those that immediately after this debate were calling for Joe Biden to step down. The party was saying, like, what are we going to do? I think I told Brewski, like, people that I'm seeing are freaking out. And I don't know, were you in the car or were you watching, Bruce?
No, I was actually at home watching is what it was. And my problem was, you got the whole Chicken Little thing going on there. The sky is not falling. Okay. It was one bad debate. And here's the other thing too, is that all these people saying that he should step aside, they're not taking into account how really impossible it is to replace a major party candidate on a ballot this late, and nobody that they can replace him with has national campaign money. They don't. And the thing about it too is I looked this up. The FEC has very stringent rules on transferring money from one candidate to another. So that's the first major hurdle. I'll leave it there for now. Yeah.
Completely fair for you to say, by the way. The whole Chicken Little reference is that, I don't know if I was feeling that way, but I was seeing a lot of people that did feel that way in our party. And I think more than anything, I didn't feel like there was a need to do something right away, but I did feel deflated, I guess is the best way I could put it. I was just like, oh, bad showing. And Steve, what did you point out?
The Obama thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Obama's second debate, I think it was, against Romney, he had a bad debate. And then he came back in the third debate and won it, and everyone kind of forgot about it, and life went on. And that night, I was kind of holding a lot of hope on that fact, that, okay, this is a bad debate. But I think calling it a bad debate is pretty generous. It was scary. I mean, I've never seen a worse performance in a debate. I felt bad for Biden. I was worried about him. I mean, that was not just tripping on your tongue a little. I mean, that was disturbing. It was scary. It was not just bad. And since this debate, an unconfirmed report came out from a couple of Biden aides saying that Joe has 6 good hours a day, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's Joe like we know, like Joe at the State of the Union or Joe at the speech the next day, like he's on fire. But the other 18 hours a day or whatever, it's the guy we saw at that debate. And that is definitely scary, to think that we're going to have a president who, if he stays up too late, is going to be meandering and can't speak and can't put thoughts together. Like I said, I mean, there's bad debates like Obama had, but that was truly disturbing. And this is not me like criticizing per se. Like it was a disaster of a debate performance. And again, Trump didn't win that debate. Biden just epically lost it.
The other thing that bothered me about that whole thing is that, first of all, the Trump people said that they would not participate unless there was zero fact checking.
It's a valid point that I've heard a lot of people make, but Biden knew there would be no fact checking. He should have shown up ready to do the fact checking. That was his job to fact check. And he
not really
epically fucked it up.
But you're not supposed to. You don't have to fact check your opponent in the debate. You're supposed.
You should when he's blatantly lying, and not to mention Trump gave him so many wide open, like blatant lies that Biden could have crushed him, and didn't.
Hey, dude, look, in a setting where Biden could sit down at a desk in the Oval Office and had peace and quiet around him, I think he could have taken all those things that Trump lied about and countered them with factual fact checking, on paper. But to have him not only answer the questions and have all his talking points in order, and fact checking, I think it's too much for him to do. There is something to be said for as you get older, as far as being able to multitask, do things in a fast-paced environment. That's always going to slow down with people, and we're acting like Biden is in the same scenario running our country with the environment that is on that debate stage, right? And I think that's completely unfair to think that, when he's with his people making decisions for our country in a more quiet spot, that he is not capable of doing things. I mean, he obviously is. We've seen a lot of good things come out of the last 3 years, right?
Yeah, sure. And, I hear a lot of people saying, like, we should not judge his last 4 years on this one debate night. I'm not. I'm worried about the next 4 years based on the debate night.
Yeah, it's fair.
My thing on this too is just that when it comes down to the whole oh geez, I'm losing my train of thought now, and I'm only 53, and I haven't even been drinking today either.
Just take her off and say I killed Medicare. That's all.
I should grab the bottle of whiskey right now. But I was going to say was, I heard that those who prepped him for a policy debate. But the problem with that is now
they overload him. Is that what you're saying?
But then they're making him a policy wonk instead of just like giving him a couple of things, but mostly leave his brain free to just punch back.
I mean, I would hope he'd be versatile enough, like old Joe, to be able to, adjust on the fly. But are we expecting too much of an 81-year-old man? And if we're expecting too much, then how do you?
You can't change the candidate. So what do you do?
I don't know if it's as scary, dude, to think about the fact that would you rather have somebody in there thinking about all the things, the policy and all the things happening in our world with a little time and thought, or having people just rattle shit off like Trump does that doesn't make sense. There's no thought or research put into any of it. It's just feeling,
Yeah, listen, most presidents and most decision-making can sit there and consult with their cabinet and come up with formulated thoughts, but there are crises that erupt that you have to make a pretty split-second decision. And if we got to wake Biden up at midnight and he's got an hour to decide something, that scares the shit out of me based on what we just saw the other night.
Yeah, yes, that's completely true and fair. But don't you think that there are people in the way of, waking him up at midnight, making that bad decision that he's got to make quickly? Like, the people that surround him know exactly his feelings on things, his stances, where he wants to go with it. So it's not like he's going to be out there just naked trying to figure this out.
No, but this reminds me of the Trump stuff, where Trump needed all of his people around him to stop him from breaking the law or destroying the Constitution or invading America with their own troops. Like, thank God he had those people around him, the guardrails. Like, now we're kind of saying the same thing about Biden. Like, he might be kind of losing his mind, but there's people around him that'll help him make these decisions. And that, again, scares me. I've never said I'm scared about a Democrat before.
But here's the thing, though, Steve. Think about the people who are around Joe Biden versus the people who were around Donald Trump. So
that's one of the things I was saying on debate night of you're going to have to readjust and make it clear to us we're electing the Biden administration, not Biden. Like, it's your whole team, buddy. Like, we got to make sure that everyone understands we're not voting for Joe. We're voting for Team Joe. And again, that's just lowering the bar to a stand. We never did that with Obama. Like, it was Obama was the man, not we better hope he's got a good fucking cabinet around him.
And I still want to know, tell me a snap decision that needs to be made in like right away that a president gets woken up for.
I don't know. A plane just hit the Twin Towers. What are we going to do?
Okay, but that's not a snap decision at that point.
It is. And we criticized George W. Bush for sitting there in that elementary school when someone told him, and he sat there for 30 minutes going, what should I do? What should I do? Like, sometimes there are snap decisions.
But what you would do then is you would start calling people in your cabinet to come together and talk, because there's nothing a president's going to say right away. Do this, do that, do this, do that on something like that. There, you got to get more information at that point. You know what I mean? What do we know? What's
there
going
have been
on?
incidents of that, and everything is new. So you never know when there could be. What if fucking Putin starts launching missiles or something, like invade South Korea? Like, what if there is a snap decision? I get what we're saying, that it's going to be Team Joe, and that's more reassuring, but this is not a good campaign slogan. Don't worry, guys. He's got people that'll help him.
Well, and we're also going to have to rely on. Let's look at the alternative.
Oh, of course. Listen, like Bill Maher just said, I would vote for Biden's head floating in a jar of formaldehyde over Donald Trump. But
wait a minute. You're telling me Bill Maher said something nice about a Democrat?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that pompous ass.
Listen, I hesitate to quote Bill Maher. I've been a big fan of his forever, but then COVID, Bill Maher went off the deep end, and I've got a lot of issues with him. But even he is saying, and people like us are saying, like, if Biden is the candidate on election day, of course I'm going to vote for him still. I'm not worried about us. I'm worried about the people in the middle of the country, the undecided voters that watch that shit show and are either not going to vote for him or not show up. And then it's just our base versus his base. And, this is the problem. We are now we're doing what the Republicans have been doing, that I've been, laughing at them for. That if they ran Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, anyone else against Joe Biden, they would crush him. But they decided to put up their weakest candidate, Donald Trump, who can be defeated. But now we're doing the same thing. We have put up our weakest candidate. So we have the two weakest, most flawed, old, senile people running against each other. And a whole bunch of the people in this country don't want to have anything to do with that. The low enthusiasm about this election just went even lower. And that's not what we need on the side of sanity,
But I think that Democrats, even Democrats who are concerned about Joe Biden, I think that they are still enthused about this race, in part because they want to defeat Trump. But then, you think about everything else that's gone on with the overturning of Roe, and then today's ruling on immunity and that sort of thing. I think that
Democrats are. I totally agree. I'm talking about the center, the undecided voters. They are not.
So on that, CBS just had a poll. This is from Sunday, and it was registered voters. It didn't say what party they're from or anything like that. There were two different polls. One was Democratic voters. This one is just regular registered voters. And it says, should Trump be running for president and stay in the race? No, 54%. Yes, 46%.
Trump, you just said?
Yes. And this is a CBS poll. I can send it to you guys. And this was on Sunday. And then,
this is a valid point. I think the Philadelphia Inquirer just ran an op-ed to put the middle finger to the New York Times op-ed saying, how come we're not calling for Trump to drop out of the race? That's a fair point. But at least Trump sounded, sane.
Wow. He sounded like his usual, normal, talking shit self.
And by the way, on the topic of polling, I desperately want to see some thorough polling come out, because I've heard from some of these undecided voters that said what Nick said. I didn't think it was that bad. Trump lied for an hour and a half. I can't support that. And then CNN had some people on that night that said at the time that, Biden didn't do very well, but I can't support Trump. But then they followed up with that focus group the next day. And all of those same people then said, now that I've had the night to think about it, I think Biden needs to drop out. So I'm wondering, once the dust settles here, where will the electorate be? And what if we see a 10-point drop in Biden support? Will we then freak out?
I think, you know what, when we saw that Supreme Court decision come down today, obviously I'm depressed by that whole thing. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I wonder if this is poor timing, because there are some of these undecideds I don't think that they trust Trump enough for this ruling to have gone through the Supreme Court. You know what I mean? There's going to be people that will be like, oh no, I think he needs to be held accountable for the things that he does wrong. If we put him into office and give him immunity, I think that's even worse, obviously. So some of these undecideds, I think, are going to look at this and be like, yeah, I mean, we got to vote for a Democrat.
For sure. And by the way, in 10 days, we're going to find out if Trump is being sentenced to prison for 3 to 4 years. And that may drastically change the narrative as well. It's not going to make anyone enthusiastic about Biden all of a sudden, but it may make more people like us that, all right, listen, I'm not excited about the dude more than ever now, but I'm still going to vote for him, obviously.
The case today, I think that people look at this and say, you know what, one guy would take this ruling and run with it and just be absolutely lawless and just do and he'll claim everything is an official act. So therefore he has immunity.
Hold on. We need to explain what we're referencing. No one's pointing.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I'm just okay. But one guy is even worse than the other as far as.
No, I'm saying the Supreme Court case we keep referencing. Nobody's told what it is.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to step on anything. So
no, we'll talk about that too. I'm just saying the Supreme Court announced today that Trump does have some level of presidential immunity, but not blanket immunity. So that's what everyone's referencing. I just feel like we need to explain what we're saying. It came out today. No one knows what today is because
the Supreme Court actually said that Trump has absolute immunity for core acts.
No. For official acts. So then, but
it's absolute for official acts. Did not say absolute.
Did not say absolute.
They did. Yeah.
Where? Read it to me. Read it to me.
I just did. Supreme Court rules Trump has absolute immunity for core acts.
From the ruling itself, Nick, not somebody's headline. You know what I mean? I think that's somebody taking the ruling and kind of giving what they think that it is more than that's what the court said he has.
So I'll just read real quick from Sotomayor's dissent. The president of the United States is the most powerful person in the country and possibly the world. When he uses his official powers in any way under the majority's reasoning, he now will be insulated from criminal prosecution. If he orders the Navy's Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, immune. Organizes a military coup to hold on to power, immune. Takes a bribe in exchange for pardon, immune. So that sounds pretty absolute.
It is. I didn't bring a reference for you, but this article's from NPR, and I read several, and it's claiming the absolute immunity for core acts only.
Official acts. That's
what I'm saying, dude. It's verbiage. For official acts, it is absolute immunity. And for official acts makes a really gray area. And that's where all these people can interpret things a different way. So that's the scary part is for official acts, because you're going to say different things are official than I do, right?
Yeah, you're leaving it up to the president to decide. And if he's in office, how could you say it's not an official act? He's the president at that moment.
Well, but the thing about that, though, is that once you lose the election, you are technically not the president. So anything from there on,
yes. And that's why the January 6th case is not dead in the water, and it's going to go back to the lower courts, be kicked around. It's going to take for fucking ever to get into court. But yeah, the surface of what they said today is if you're the president and you order something, you're immune from it. You can debate the nuance later in courts and all that stuff. But yeah, they essentially granted blanket immunity if you are the president. Now, Trump obviously wasn't president after the election. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it's a scary decision. And we're getting completely off track, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do have some audio if you would like to hear from some people talking about this.
No, I don't. I want to finish the Biden discussion. Then we'll get.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
That's what I'm talking about, dude.
Okay, Biden. Yes, go ahead.
Let's talk a little bit about a guy named Alan Leishman. Do you guys know who he is? Leishman. This is the guy that has a documentation of keys. He has been able to predict the presidential debate. Who's going to win for, I think it's the last 14 years, something like that, or 14 presidents.
Yes. Yeah. And a couple of months ago, he predicted that Biden will win based on all the current metrics. Yes. Something crazy happening.
Everyone's talking to a lot of different people about what happened with Biden. This is what he has to say about getting a new candidate. Should the Democratic Party get a new candidate?
A lot of critics are saying the Democrats should replace Biden with a younger, more capable nominee. What all of these critics have in common is no track record of actually predicting presidential election results. And yet here they are giving that advice. And that advice would be to absolutely doom the Democrats to defeat. It would create an open seat and an internal party contest because there's no obvious heir apparent. 6 times since the turn of the 20th century, the party in power has faced an election with no incumbent running and an internal contest. And you know how many times they won those elections? 0. They lost every one of them.
Yeah, but here's the thing I want to say about this. The debate as to whether or not we should be replacing Biden. First of all, it's a legitimate conversation to have because we've all been saying how much is at stake at this election. Democracy is at stake, especially with some of these Supreme Court rulings. You put Trump back in office, give him some sort of blanket immunity, even if 5 years from now we find out he was wrong, look at the damage he will do in the meantime. So this is a goddamn serious election, as we've always been saying. And yeah, I think it's okay for Democrats to now wonder if it's a smart idea to put the most flawed candidate up against the most dangerous. And if Trump wins in the fall, it's going to be our own fucking fault for backing a horse that is, looking scary. But here's the point I want to make. That guy is right. If we do this against Biden's will, if we go to the convention and make it brokered and we try to, reassign the delegates, and no qualified candidate is going to step into that chaos and lead the country to, the Democratic win in the fall. That will never fucking happen. That will guarantee defeat. I absolutely 1,000% agree. But if Biden were to step out now and say, listen, for the good of the country, I am going to withdraw from the reelection. I'm going to finish out my term, and here's who I've anointed. If the Democrats behind the scenes, if they do this in an organized fashion, Biden says, I'm stepping down, but now it's Eric Swalwell, and now it's Gavin Newsom, now it's whatever. If they anoint somebody, everyone would fall in line behind them. The donor money would come in. All of the intricacies would get worked out, and that person would probably destroy Trump. Because they would be younger, a new face. Fox News hasn't been branding them a liar or whatever for the last 8 years. Like, that could work. And just like if the Republicans put someone else besides Trump in, they would crush Biden. If we put someone else besides Biden in right now in a unified fashion, they would absolutely destroy Trump, and we would guarantee our democracy to go on. So it's not a crazy idea.
It's way too late.
I'm going to throw a monkey wrench at you on this, Steve.
Sure. It's not too late, by the way, but yes.
The Heritage Foundation has already prepared legal briefs in which they will challenge in battleground states that Biden cannot be taken off the ballot.
Listen, I assume if the Democrats are going to pull that move, they'll make sure they've legally covered their bases. And if they're not, then they're not going to pull the move. And, as the tides are going right now, it's not going to happen. Everyone's going to stay behind Biden, and we're going to all cross our fingers and hope that the worst candidate can defeat the other worst candidate. And if we lose, it's our own fucking fault. But this sort of blind devotion to Biden, that it's too late, it's too tricky, it's too complicated. It's not. We could do it.
Logistically, you might be able to do it. It's not too late logistically. It's too late in the sense that, if Biden got in a car accident, right? Let's just say, rather than this debate, if he got in a car accident and became, paralyzed from the neck down and was in bad health, then maybe he could do it. He could say, I'm going to step aside and we're back in this, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that he went into this debate and he knows, and the people around him have known for a long time that he's in this mental state, they don't lose. We're going to completely lose faith in the Democratic Party currently, the current Democratic Party. Because we're like, why didn't you fucking do this 6 months ago, 9 months ago? Now well, I look at the Democratic Party and say, oh, this scares the shit out of me. What the fuck are you guys doing? If you knew about this way a long time ago, that's where I think it's too late.
Well, I think obviously the narrative has been that he's too old, but now we've all seen it, like black and white right in front of the entire world.
They've been seeing it, though.
The thing that threw me off, too, is after the debate, he went, did you see the video of him at the Waffle House?
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed really sharp and everything was cool. And I don't know, maybe he had a cup of coffee at the Waffle House, but I don't know what happened, but it seemed like, because as the debate went on, he got a little bit better and that sort of thing. But in the Waffle House, he was boom, boom, boom. And,
but he was that way at the State of the Union. Like, I just can't take this. Hey, sometimes of the day, he's right on point, and other times he's not.
But that was
if
late
Trump
night,
was
though.
like that, we would, of course, be criticizing
But you said you gave me those hours that they say are the good hours, right? This is late night after the debate. And maybe at that point, you've been in the debate with Trump and you're just so effing amped up because he's pissed you off and everything. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's adrenaline pumping at that point. I don't know.
This is what I'll tell you with a piece of audio from this Frank Lunsky, who is a pollster. What he said about the next day, Biden went and did a rally, okay? It was a great speech. You're like, where the fuck was that last night?
Well, it was a speech, though, prepared remarks.
Right. But the energy, at the very least, was there, right? It was there, and this is what he had to say.
I saw that speech. He was outstanding. But there will only be a few million people who saw that speech. There were 50 million people who saw the debate. There's only a few million people that are really paying attention to the election. Most are casual observers. But you couldn't get away from the op-eds and the newspapers and the commentary.
As the media already done the damage with everything, and 50 million see him fail and 2 million see him do great. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right?
It's the narrative that matters. All these people that didn't watch the debate, they're seeing the next day on social media, on the news sites, all that stuff that Biden horribly bombed. And that narrative is horribly damaging for the undecided voters that we have to win over.
You guys have to think about it. I'm sure you have. Like, what part does the media play in this debacle, right? Because, like Brewski was saying, Chicken Little, like the sky is falling. Like, as soon as that poll was over, 30 minutes before that debate was over, people were online just talking shit, falling apart. And they created a lot of this chaos for these millions of people who didn't see the debate,
Sure. But I think they were reporting what was actually happening out there. This was not, like I said, not just a bad debate. I mean, this was scary. So Democrats were shitting their pants and freaking out. That's true.
I think more than anything, I think that the reason why people freaked out to the level that they did is because who's on the other side, and what he's capable of. And the thing about that is that they feel even more pressure. Like, oh my God, we can't lose. Don't fuck it up. And then that's when you fuck it up. You know what I mean?
When you're, Steve, you could probably relate to this when you're a father with young kids. If, you get the phone call that grandpa died, you have some sort of responsibility to play calm for the kids and not rile them up. And I think that there is that same responsibility in the party. It didn't have to be spit out that quickly. We're thinking about dropping that fucking old guy. Sit down and think a little bit here, dude, about what happened. We'll find out. We got some time here, but this instantaneous world of getting news out fast. If it's not first, you're last, is really, really dangerous.
Thank you, Ricky Bobby, for that quote. I appreciate it.
I'm coming for you, Ricky Bobby.
It also depends what channel you were watching. When I first was watching the debate, I was on regular NBC, and afterwards it was Lester Holt and Savannah Guthrie or whatever, and they weren't doing that. But MSNBC, where there's more talking heads hosts, they were doing it. So kind of depends where you're getting it from. But
CNN.
They weren't correctly conveying the alarm that was reverberating. I mean, we were all talking during the debate. I was texting with Kennedy during the debate, and all of us were like, holy shit, this is not looking good. Like, what the hell is happening here?
Dude, when he walked out on stage, I texted you guys immediately. I was like, he's already fucking clearing his throat? Like, you couldn't have done that back there, Grandpa?
So let me ask you a real question. What if in the next couple of weeks we see Biden tanking in the polls, where we're just walking into a disaster in November? Do we try to do something, or do we just say, too fucking late now? Oh, well.
But
I don't know.
What can you do? You
I
can't.
already said, if
change-
Biden decided to anoint someone and step down, or
Okay.
organized a write-in campaign, or if he said, I swear on day one I will resign and Kamala will take over, we could do something.
Not the cop.
Doesn't matter, dude. I mean, Kamala could actually defeat Trump because he's so toxic. So any other Democrat could defeat Trump right now. So I'm just saying there are options. We shouldn't pretend like there's not, because there are. Would it be messy? Yes. Would it be impossible that Biden wasn't on board? Yes, absolutely. But if Biden led this, we could absolutely have a new candidate on the ballot, even if it was write-in.
Would it create such hysteria and distrust in the Democratic Party that the majority and masses would vote independent for the first time?
I think it's going to create more distrust if we all blindly walk into this election and let ourselves be slaughtered. Biden's legacy will now be that he was too proud or too stubborn to step down. He could be a hero right now and acknowledge, like, listen, guys, I'm not up for a second term. Here's who I'm anointing. Let's go and defeat pure evil this November. He would be remembered as a hero that did the right thing for the greater good of the country. If he loses in November, he will go down in history as a stubborn old man who wouldn't fucking give up and let Satan take over because he wouldn't step down. And I don't want to see his legacy go down like that. He doesn't deserve that. So my question is, if he's tanking in the polls, do we do something, or do we just say, oops, we fucked up?
Yeah, it's a good question, dude. I don't know. It depends. First of all, what do you consider tanking? Is he a few points down? Is he 20 points down?
Double-digit dip if he drops 10 points or more.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to keep the conversation going. I don't know that it's, here's what I will say. It's not the right move right now because the polls aren't showing that this was a huge hit. So if it becomes a big hit, then we have to keep the conversation going. But right now, I think we forge forward.
I agree. Today is not the day. We got to let the dust settle and see what's really happening. But if in the next few weeks it's obvious that the polls are tanking, Biden's become a national joke, the middle of the country is not going to show up and vote, like if it's becoming pretty freaking clear that we're walking into a disaster, do we just accept that fate and say, oops? Or do we try to do something? It's better to try to do something than to just walk into defeat, right?
Sure. I'd agree with that.
But like you said, though, Steve, he has to be on board. So when you said, do we have to do something? Well, we can't do anything. And I mean, he has to be on board with it. That's you know what I mean? So, I mean, we can want to do something all we want, but if he's not going to step aside, then we're kind of stuck.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
So let me phrase it that way then. If in a month the polls are tanking, he's losing, and Biden says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to hand off the baton to someone else. Would you be in favor of that and say that's probably a smart move? Or would you say, like, no joke, stay on the ballot, please? We've been backing you all this time.
I would have to see what everything looked like at the time.
If you had to make a choice now, gun to your head, could you make it?
It's vote blue no matter who. I'm sticking with that mantra. So it does not matter who the Democrat is. I will vote for them.
I will tell you, there are certain Democrats that I will have to do my Hillary thing. Absolutely. I mean, I'll vote for them, but I will absolutely do my Hillary thing again.
But aren't we doing that with Biden at this point? I'm not excited about Joe Biden.
I'm excited about it. I'm more excited about him than I am the cop.
I'm just saying, like,
we're
potentially walking into a disaster. So vote blue no matter who. Any Democrat could defeat Trump right now. I don't give a shit who it is, whether it is the cop, quote unquote.
I don't think the cop could handle. I don't think the cop could handle it against Trump. To be honest with you.
Oh, come on. Kamala's, I know you don't like her marijuana policies from 20 years ago.
Not even that.
She's a smart, competent woman who can debate well.
But I've seen her in what do you call it? Hearings. And there have been times where people in the hearings have run over her. And
she's been ran over.
And she gets kind of like this sound in her voice, like she's about to cry. And I don't know. I don't get that.
That's.
Let's
really think she was about to cry.
No. I'm saying it sounds. The voice.
So you're excited about Joe based on his debate, but you've seen footage of Kamala about to cry, so you wouldn't.
No. It's what I'm saying is like. I didn't say she was about to cry. I said the sound of her voice when she was responding at that point. That's what it sounded like. It didn't sound strong and forceful.
Listen, she can show up to the next debate and say nothing. And the fact that she's a young woman is all that would be needed for a whole bunch of people down the middle to go, you know what? I'm not supporting the old man liar Trump. Like, you're a young woman. Like, fine. Click, vote, fine, done.
You're confident in that.
I am. You know, the Hillary factor showed that, you know, there is sexism in this country, that people won't vote for a woman. But that was a well-tainted woman from years and years of propaganda against her, that she's a liar and all that stuff, versus Trump, who is now toxic as nuclear waste. So any Democrat could defeat Trump. But we're putting up the one Democrat that probably is not going to.
I don't know if that's true, dude. I just don't know. In talking to conservatives and seeing how many of them exist, there's been several that it disappoints me to hear this, but that, yeah, I think I'd give them another chance. The country's in bad shape right now. So I don't know if I agree with that. I think that it's about where the polls are. I mean, we're riding side by side right now. I don't know if any Democrat could defeat Trump. I don't know.
May I bring another voice to this whole thing?
Sure.
Somebody that I believe Steve holds in high esteem, who actually, and this actually is video posted by the Midas Touch. So we know that this is not something that's been doctored or anything like that. These guys are on the up and up.
Okay.
Do we know who Haley Welsh is?
Octua girl?
As a matter of fact, yes, she was actually she's come out against Trump. I'm looking at the video right now.
Well, then okay, I'm back on board.
it says here, Midas Touch, breaking: the Hawk Tour girl, aka Haley Welsh, has come out against Donald Trump on her first ever interview. It's a no from me, she said. No, absolutely not, said her friend. And I'll tell you what, her friend, you know how hot chicks usually like travel in flocks?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is definitely that kind of flock. You know? Yeah.
Is it a no on Trump, though, or a yes on Biden? Because those are two different things. You can say no to Trump and not show up or write in a candidate. She's endorsing Biden?
She didn't say she's endorsing Biden, but she said she's a no for Trump. That's at least good enough for now, at least. And we'll work on it.
In some ways, though, that articulates my point. Like, it's not enough for the undecideds to be against Trump. They have to be for Biden.
Well, but she wasn't asked in the video about, you know, what do you think about Joe Biden? Yeah, exactly. They just said, what do you think about Trump? Because they were backstage at a Zach Bryan concert. She's
a little loogie, in the back of her throat
going on too. By the way,
listen, if she would hawk to on Biden next time and perk him up a notch, maybe that.
You want to know? You guys keep talking about Kamala. You know what she thinks about all this, dude? Have you heard?
No.
You haven't heard? Okay, well, this is what
I've heard. But listen, I mean, what is she supposed to say? What is Obama supposed to say?
Oh, dude, listen, this is what she said, okay?
Our president made clear there is a contrast between someone who lies and someone who leads.
Okay, so there you go, dude. That's all we have from Kamala.
Listen, the only nice thing I'm going to say about Biden's worst performance in presidential debate history is that on the content, if you read the transcript, he won, hands down. Better answers, better policies, everything. But performance-wise, fucking scary and the worst performance I've ever seen. And again, not talking about the last 4 years. I'm worried about the next 4 years. And by the way, Kamala Harris will be president if Biden wins in fall. He's not making it 4 years. I mean, come on. That would be a fucking miracle.
I think he's going to be one of those people that he's going to be like Strom Thurmond, who stayed alive till he was over 100 and stayed in the fucking Senate too. They used to wheel him out.
No, but we always used to ridicule that.
No, but at least with Biden, what I mean by that is he'll still be alive at 100. He won't be in politics at that point. He's just one of those people that.
I'm with Brewski. You know, I'm with him. I think he's going to live a long time. I don't think he's dying in the next 4 years.
I will say this. I thought for sure, because he was the most stubborn motherfucker I've ever known in my entire life, I thought for sure my old man was going to beat death, at least until like his 80s. And unfortunately, he didn't. I thought death was going to show up and he was going to be like, no, get out of here. Screw. I'm not going now. But unfortunately, when death comes, it comes.
Listen, all I know is this has now become very risky. The possibility of Trump winning is absolutely possible all of a sudden. And everything I've been saying for months, that's not the real Joe Biden. He's not really old and senile. You cannot argue against that. And now when I go to vote in this November election, I'm not going to be voting for Joe Biden. I'm going to be voting against Donald Trump. And that's the best case we can hope for. And that's sort of a sad commentary, especially if a Gavin Newsom or somebody would step up and Joe Biden would endorse him and we would destroy Trump and have 8 years of a new young. I mean, we could do a better thing. But I think we're just going to roll the dice and see what happens. And when Biden loses, it's our fucking fault.
Well, it's not my fault, dude. I can't do anything about it.
Yes, it is. It's your specific.
It's not mine. I'm not going to take any responsibility for it. It's funny that you say exactly, though, that we are exposed. My brother was like, why are you so down after the debate? I was like, you know what? I've seen glimpses of Joe Biden, being an old man, forgetting, losing his words, stuff like that. But to have him go out on this stage, I felt real naked. Like, oh, this has been exposed. And he was like, oh, that's interesting. It's all I've ever seen. I was like,
and by the way, if Trump is smart, which I know that's a funny assertion, but if somebody smart is advising Trump, he would not do the second debate. He would come out and say, listen, I'm not going to beat up on that feeble old man again. Like, I think you saw everything you need to see. He does not want to give Biden a chance to redeem himself.
Sure.
So if Trump was smart, he would just say, no, it's done. Mercy kill.
It's not giving him any good ideas, dude.
But you know Trump, though. You know that he's not gonna miss out on an opportunity. He's gonna go into that debate so fucking high, and he's gonna think he's gonna walk in there and just walk all over Biden, and he's gonna do that because he wants to go for the kill.
Yes, but what if the same Joe Biden shows up? Would we all then concede that this is done and over?
Well, no, but think about that though. That debate's in September.
Yeah,
I mean, you talk about.
Then you're out of time. That's what I'm saying. He falls on his face in September. Trump will absolutely, hands down, zero doubt, win the national election. Absolutely, and it will be our fault for backing a losing horse that we saw coming a mile away.
But you know what though? At that point, you do what you have to. I don't care. Give him coke. Give him steroids. But
I believe I texted you guys that during the debate. Like, now I'm in favor of Biden doing cocaine. Like, whatever it's going to take. Wake the man up.
Get him a pot of coffee, like, a double espressos. I don't care. Just do whatever you have to do that night. Make him nap for like 12 hours.
I think he napped for a week at Camp David, dude. There's nothing a pot of coffee could do to that man on that night. I mean, it was pitiful. We all know it.
I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, I knew people who were in their 40s that say that if they have a cup of coffee after 8:30 at night, they never get to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
this is what we're hanging our hopes on, that Red Bull saved the day.
Like I said, first of all, I want to state this now. Nothing that happens is going to be my fault. If, something good happens, I'll take a little bit of the credit because I would have voted. But I do want to say that whatever is going to happen, we have to wait for that moment for Joe Biden to make the first move. Otherwise, I'm just chilling.
Listen, I mean, there's something to be said for organizing a chorus of people to, pressure him. But ultimately, it's his decision. If he's not going to step aside, then we have to back him no matter what. We cannot do a brokered convention. That's the other thing we should be saying. Like, pressure this brokered convention bullshit. Do not do that. That will guarantee our defeat. Either we do this in a unified way or we don't do it.
Yeah, that's right. To bring some comic relief to this whole thing, did you guys hear Trump shit his pants on the debate stage?
I saw that.
I heard it. In his defense, I heard a juicy fart. Did he really evacuate his bowels during?
Come on, bro. Juicy fart? Go on. Let's think that if that man doesn't fart, he at the very least sharts. Okay, so
somebody just sent me a video about there being a difference between incontinence and fecal smearing. How do we know that wasn't a smearing? Not an unloading.
Something flew out. There was pressure behind that bad boy.
fecal smearing does have something come out. So
No, fecal smearing is just poop slowly like clay coming. You didn't even watch the article, dude. You didn't even watch the video. You can't even comment on fecal smearing. I'm so disappointed you didn't watch that video. It was because I care about you, first of all, as an aging man.
Nick sent us a video of some rectal doctor who calls himself the Tushy Doctor talking about the difference between incontinence and fecal smearing. And then he's like, let me demonstrate what fecal smearing looks like. And I was like, done, stop, summarize this. I don't know if he's going to smear peanut butter on a piece of paper or what. I don't want to see you demonstrate, Tushy Doctor, what fecal smearing looks like.
Listen, this is all. I'm going to tell you basically what it is, okay? And this is how he demonstrated. Fecal smearing is when your body needs fiber, and I wish I could remember the active ingredient in this certain type of fiber, but it's a bonding agent. And when your body has. Yes, thank you, Brewski. When your body has fiber with psyllium in it, it creates the poo that we all love, the one that falls out. And he used a piece of clay to show you how it just dropped out of his hand that he was holding and, making an anus with.
He simulated a butthole with his hands and shoved clay through. Okay, I'm glad. All you have to do is describe that. I didn't need to see that. Come on.
Yes, you did, because you can't completely get it. So he pushes it out like a poo we all love. One that, you know what, I'm going to wipe, but I bet nothing's going to be on the paper. And that's what a great poo is. And a food baby, Brewski. If you have, what's the term, Harness, that you were talking about? What's the video?
Fecal smearing?
Yes, fecal smearing. If you have fecal smearing, it is because your fecal matter lacks psyllium, so it doesn't bond and harden up. It just goes through kind of like goo would, so it kind of leaks out, like, pressing peanut butter through, a hole and watching it come out. Like, some of it's going to stay on that anus, and then it's going to stay inside your anus, right by it. So throughout the day, you're sitting down and you're going to smear some of that stuff onto your underwear.
I see. That's my mistake. Psyllium. I've been using helium. I thought that's what.
No, dude.
Just made my turd talk like Mr. Handy or whatever.
Watch the video, dude.
I have a question. If you reach into your underwear because you feel something, and say you've been something. Say you're fecal smearing and you pull your hand out and then you go to wipe it. Is that considered finger painting?
I think so. That's probably right. Fecal smearing is a big issue. That's kind of what I feel like's going on in our country right now. This is just a big fecal smearing. We need to take some fiber with psyllium.
Listen, we have a chance to defeat Trump. That's all I'm saying. And we're about to gamble it all. And I'm going to go with the flow. It's not up to us. It's up to Biden. But I am, for the first time, nervous as fuck. And for the first time, I think Trump's going to win. And that is not a good thing for me to feel and say. So I'm legitimately nervous.
Did you talk your mom down? Was she having a panic attack, Arnis?
Oh, no.
So funny. I called my mom the next day. And I'm like, so, how you doing? She's like, good. I've been out running errands today. I'm like, all right. What'd you think about the debate? She was like, oh, I didn't watch the debate. I know who I'm voting for. I'm like, oh, you haven't seen the news today? She's like, nope. I'm like, all right, so what else is going on here? I don't want to.
Perfect.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news here. But,
No, she's going to call you in a week and be like, I just read a story, Steve. Why didn't you say anything, you asshole? But I think you're right. Leave your mom in the dark. She doesn't need to worry about it. I was so shocked that my mom follows politics lightly. She votes blue. So she calls me after the debate and she was like, did you just watch that? And I was like, yeah, did you? She was like, yes, what I could. I got about 30 minutes in and I just couldn't watch anymore. I was like, oh, yeah.
The less the better. You know, I talked to my dad, who is Biden's age, by the way, and does not act like Biden. And my dad's a devout Democrat, and he's a huge Trump hater. And he's expressing the same concerns that we all did. Like, that was not good. Like, as a doctor, the cognitive decline is becoming more and more obvious after you see that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
like he said the same thing. I'll vote for him if that's who's on the ballot, but we may want to take the chance to head that train off of the pass. So, a lot of people are feeling it. It's a legitimate feeling. Where it's going to go, I don't know, but it's up to Biden and or the pressure being put on him. And currently his circle, we know he just met with his family this weekend. We know Obama, we know Kamala. Everyone's telling him to stay the course. And again, the old classic Obama bad debate. Yeah, stay the course. But this was an epically
unprecedented.
It's not even correct to say it was bad. It was disturbing. It was scary.
Worrisome. It was worrisome, dude.
Yeah.
So
again, this is a raw, honest discussion that no MAGA lover would ever have about Trump, even though they could have the exact same discussion about Trump.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, some of I don't want to get the facts wrong, so I'm going to give you an average, but I heard most people saying that out of the debate, Trump lied every minute and 30 seconds. He had 30 lies that could be fact checked very easily throughout this debate. So yeah,
unless you're Biden.
Right, yeah. Well, not on stage. I'm very confident that Biden could sit down and back them all down now. He just didn't know where he was, dude. Give him a break.
Slopes, and I'm sure he could do it just fine. But yeah, so okay. All right. Well, we've spent this entire show talking about this debate, which is fine. Do we want to wrap it up with some of our clarifications from previous shows, or do that in the next episode?
Yeah, we can. Let's do it in the next show. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Well, hey, this is a perfect opportunity to use our comment line. Call us at 844-48-VOCAL. If we're way off base here, or if you're feeling different or the same, just call us and let us know. We'd like to take a little poll of our own, for crying out loud.
Hey, real quick, too, on this topic, I thought it was hilarious that after the debate was over, all of the right-wing blogosphere, the MAGA idiots online, because I was on Twitter right away and I was on Reddit, I was watching all the feedback coming in. They tried to share this video of Biden after the debate, of Jill Biden walking him down the stairs slowly. And they were all like, look, he's an old man. They can't walk down the stairs. And I'm like, this is the least. You could just show the actual debate. Why are you showing this shadowy, slowly? I don't give a fuck if he's slow to walk down the stairs. This is what you're all holding on to?
Yeah.
90 minutes of him being senile? Like, people are so dumb. You don't even know the evidence you already have. They're trying to fabricate shit when we just handed them all the evidence they needed. But again, no Trump supporter changed their mind that night, nor did any Biden supporter. We're talking about the middle, and that's what we should be worried about.
Yeah, the undecided. So, yeah, let's just hope for good things, guys. And, we'll update you. If you don't listen to this news anywhere else, we thank you for listening to it here. And, yeah, we'll keep you in the loop right here on the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Olabruski.
That's right. At least we'll have 4 years of good material to come if Trump wins. We won't be off the air soon. So there is that.
I'd rather have to work and come up with material.
Right, yeah.
I'm just saying brace for that reality, because it's a distinct possibility all of a sudden. So the vocalminority.net is our website until Trump wins election and throws us out of the country. So find it there. And social medias galore. We're on them. Share our stuff.
And we bid you adieu. Brewski, please.
Adieu.
And we say bye-bye.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Stop.